9:40 a.m. Let us start with roll call.
Commissioner Markham.
Here.
Commissioner Miller.
Here.
Commissioner Taylor is absent with notice. Commissioner Smiley.
Here.
Commissioner Weipert.
I'm here.
Commissioner Johnson.
I'm here.
Commissioner Smith Charles.
Present.
You have quorum?
Wonderful. Let us stand for the pledge. Mr. Miller, would you lead us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Next is our approval of the minutes dated May 14th, 2025. And it also includes the closed session.
I'll move it.
Moved by Commissioner Markham, supported by Commissioner Miller. Any discussion on that, changes or corrections? Seeing none, we can do a voice vote. All in favor by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign. The motion carries. Thank you. Minutes are approved. Next up is our approval of the agenda. As long as it looks good, I'll take a motion to approve it. Moved by Commissioner Smiley, supported by Commissioner Miller. Any discussion, changes, adjustments? Seeing none, let's do a voice vote for approving of the agenda. All in favor by the sign of aye?
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign? All right, that motion carries. Agenda is approved. Takes us to our first public comment. It is this body's desire that the first public comment would be on anything on the agenda. You have 3 minutes. If you are interested in speaking to the committee, you may make your way to the front of the room. And I see no one making their way to the front, so I'll go ahead and close our first public comment. Next up is item 7, which is communications. 7A, quarterly report, skilled and educated workforce development. I saw Jennifer Llewellyn on the screen a little bit earlier. If anyone had any questions or thoughts on that. Good morning, Jennifer. Appreciate this.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Yeah, we appreciate this. I got a chance to peruse it. I guess one just top level question simply is when it says April 1 of 22 through December 31, 24. Feedback. Oh, okay, I get it. I just want to make sure when it says quarterly, that date range, it means from the inception of the whole thing, correct?
Correct, yes. It's a cumulative report from the time of inception and acceptance of the resolution by the board up until, in this case, we have the data through December 31st. So the next report will be through March of this year.
Okay, very good. Did anyone have any additional questions or thoughts on this? And then, of course, if you think of something, you can always reach out to Jennifer. But it looks like we're making our way to our goals. And when you see the Board of Commissioners putting their money where their mouth is to have the best and brightest here and give those people the capacity for high-paying wages and job security and things like that, that's always great.
Yes, and I'd like to thank the commissioners for their support of this project. It's been transformational for our residents. As you can see, the impact of the Oakland 80 Current Education Navigators, the impact on our high school students, and probably the most transformational has been that $7.5 million of barrier removal, our ability to repair cars for individuals and cover their books and supplies. They're getting free tuition through Michigan Reconnect, but the books and supplies are often a barrier. Mileage assistance, and it's the difference between people getting a job, keeping a job, enrolling in education, and completing education. So, thank you for your ongoing support of this project. We're really proud of it, and we get to see firsthand what it means to our residents, and it's really incredible.
Thank you. Just one follow-up there is, if I wasn't on this commission and perhaps even associated with economic development infrastructure for the county, maybe I wouldn't know about any of this. Where do people find out about either Oakland 80. I mean, there was a couple other terms that were a little new to me, such as, let me scroll back up, the Business Resource Network Restart, you know, who is the customer avatar, if you will, for that? Flexible workforce assistance, you know, where do people where can we send people, I guess is a better question to.
That's a great question. So I'll take each one of those. So for our Oakland 80 Career and Education Navigators, folks can go to oakland80.com or oakland80.org or oakgov.com/oakland80. We do a lot of promotion on our social media. We did do a marketing campaign of bus signs, billboards, mailings to targeted zip codes to inform residents. And the team has been to several thousand community events now to help educate the community about connecting with one of our Oakland 80 Career and Education Navigators. So people can call our 1-800 number and get connected directly to a navigator. They're also stationed at various locations across the county, community college campus, university campuses, nonprofit organizations. So we're certainly not having a difficult time connecting with individuals in the community because of all of the grassroots outreach that's underway. We are planning another marketing campaign, hopefully closer to this fall, for fall enrollment into post-secondary education. The flexible workforce assistance, again, a lot of promotion, flyers, materials, social media. But it also feels like, I feel like my phone number is written on every wall that's out there right now. Many people, including our community partners and nonprofits, when they have a customer that's facing some hard times when it comes to education or employment, barriers, utility assistance, rental assistance, they're referring a lot of individuals to us. And then, of course, the traffic flow of the thousands of people into our Michigan Works offices. For the Business Resource Network, that's a service specific to companies. So we deploy a team of success coaches out to member companies, and the focus is helping those employees keep their jobs. We've done a lot of work over the years in helping folks get jobs, and we hadn't done enough really to help people keep their jobs. So those success coaches go out to the companies once a week for a block of time, either virtually or in person. And any employee who works at a member company can meet with that success coach confidentially to discuss anything that might be interfering with their ability to keep their job. So many times it's external factors at home with family that they don't feel comfortable talking to human resources about. And we're able to help address those barriers and help them keep employment. So we have slots for 25 companies that is promoted through our economic development team here at the county, through our business services team, through Michigan Works. Companies will sign on, and then we have a marketing campaign that takes place with each company to reach out to their employees, whether that's through their EAP. We do billboards at the member companies. We have table tents for their lunchrooms, really encouraging their employees to connect with one of our success coaches.
That's great, Jennifer. Thank you for that. What's the 800 number?
I should know it by heart, but give me 1 second here. We have so many different numbers.
And then also, you said it's on your social media. So what's your social media handle? So that
Oakland County, Michigan Works, on both X and Facebook, as well as LinkedIn as well. And you can also use hashtag Oakland 80, and a lot of our Oakland 80 materials will come up specifically.
Great.
So our 1-800 number is 1-888-559-4360. And that connects directly to our Oakland 80 Career and Education Navigators.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Anything further for Ms. Llewellyn? Yes, Commissioner.
You're doing great. I mean, in 21, we awarded $6.6 million. In 22, we awarded, the Board of Commissioners gave you $450,000. 23, $15 million awarded. I see you've got your amount spent, percentage spent on a lot of the programs. So some of the programs Oakland 80, you're 51%, 51.4 spent. You're on target for your,
Yes, we're on target. Our goal is to make sure that we've got funding to make this last all the way through the end of
26.
26.
Okay.
So we're being very methodical. You might see that the Oakland 80 Career and Education Navigators for the high school seems a little bit lower, but that was really because we onboarded most of those Oakland 80 Career and Education Navigators for the high schools just this past September.
Okay.
So there's now 19 of them stationed at high schools across Oakland County. So you'll see those expenditures accelerate significantly.
Yeah, because that was only 11.5% spent so far.
Correct.
But you're on target. Out of the allocation of 4.8 million.
Yes, we will spend every penny. We're masters of that in workforce development with mostly federal grants and state grants. We know that spending every penny that we can is part of our goal and mission.
Well, and for good purposes. And I saw one little note here about outreaching. Let's see. It was like 117,000 contacts. I mean, that includes mailing or that's a lot.
Mailing,
That's a lot of contacts. Okay.
Yes, the community events alone that the team attends. I'm so proud of the team. They're willing to go anywhere, talk to anyone. It's the most ambitious, incredible team that I've had the pleasure of working with and leading. These folks really want to make a difference. And we know our time is short with the ARP fund, so we're using every moment to connect with every person that we possibly can.
Thank you. Yeah, you're doing great work. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anything further on this? And I believe it's a receiving file, so we can go ahead and prompt the vote to do just.
We still need a motion.
Oh.
Second.
I'll make a motion to receive the file.
By Commissioner Whiteford, support by Commissioner Miller.
Now I will prompt.
Thank you.
Woodward,
Yes.
you have 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion carries. Thanks, Jennifer. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Next up is our consent agenda, 2 items underneath that, which is A, fiscal year 2025 appropriation with the city of Southfield for Tri-Party Road Improvement Program, project number 57571. And item B, fiscal year 2025 appropriation with the Township of Groveland for Tri-Party Road Improvement Program, project number 58182. I will entertain a motion to approve those, move them along. Moved by Commissioner Smiley, supported by Commissioner Markham. Any discussion? Chairman Woodward, who's the Groveland Township Commissioner? I'm just curious.
Hoffman.
Oh, Mr. Hoffman, okay, shout out to Bob. Anything further on this? Otherwise, we can go ahead and prompt the vote to recommend to the board. I'd like to pop quiz.
Commissioner Woodward,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith Charles, yours went through.
Yes.
You have 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, that motion carries. Takes us to item 9, County Executive Department recommendations. I'll entertain a motion to recommend forward to finance the development agreement with Endeavor Pontiac Partners LLC for the construction of parking decks and site improvements in Pontiac, Michigan.
I'll move it.
Moved by Commissioner Markham, supported by Commissioner Miller. And who's here to speak on that? Oh, yeah, okay. I'm like, Jennifer Dwyer, come on down. I like it, Sean. That's how you get them fired up. All right, so we have an amazing team in front of us, starting with none other than Megan Sellers, our deputy, she's got a title.
County Executive.
Thank you. And then Sean Carlson.
So I'm the Deputy County Executive over Public Communications, which includes community engagement, older adult services, and then I'm a liaison to the wonderful Board of Commissioners.
Oh, spicy.
Yes, it is.
Well, Madam Chair, thank you. I think we've got our CFO, Brian Leffler, and then our deputy county executive. We just went over all the things, but more importantly, why she's sitting at this table, the same reason I'm sitting at this table is because of the project that's before us. We're partnering on the project management of the Pontiac redevelopment, revitalization, and reconnect project. So before, we do have a presentation. Do we have that loaded?
Yes.
So I'm gonna take you through that, but I just wanna, there's a lot of moving parts on this, right? So we've already handled the 31 Judson, the redevelopment portion, which will also be part of revitalization. This, what we're talking about here today, really is all three of the redevelopment, revitalization, and reconnect, because we're connecting the city back up. But I think what's important is just to kind of remind us of how we got here. So last July, we put out a bid for a development project, an RFP. We received 7 responses. 2 of the responses were demolition projects. One of the response had to do with possibly putting a healthcare center, and it was a real estate. They were interested in possible building being reallocated. There was 4 responses that had to do with the redevelopment project of downtown Pontiac. We went through the evaluation process. There were 3 developers that came out of that evaluation. One of the developers was considered to be non-responsive and non-responsive. So the 3 that came out of there was the Boji Group, Endeavor, and Seawick. We invited those 3 back in the end of September, October timeframe to come before the evaluation committee, which was made up of not only the 3 of us, but we also had Angela Powell sat on that committee representing the Board of Commissioners. We also had community members from the city of Pontiac and city officials that sat on this. So this is a truly collaborative project, inviting all the stakeholders to the table. We came to the conclusion, very difficult decision, but the top 2 candidates coming out of there was the Boji Group and the Endeavor Group. The Boji Group had a slight edge, so we engaged in a 90-day negotiation period with the Boji Group. We were not able to come to an agreement at that point in time, so then we moved on to the Endeavor Group. We started that process in the middle of February. 90 days brought us to May 16th. We were at a material agreement at the 16th, but we needed an additional week to finalize some of the details. We did finalize those details. Brian was able to dock the boat and bring it home for us on the 23rd of May, where we finalized an agreement, which is part of the attachment of this resolution. So I just wanted to kind of connect all those moving parts so that you all had a refresher. I know I've talked about this before, but I think that's important to understand where we came from. You have in front of you, so I'll get into the resolution, but let me just go through the deck real quick. Do we have a clicker?
No pun intended.
Oh, there it is.
You're gonna go through the deck.
I heard it.
I
But
heard
it's a paid slide.
Yeah, is it 4 pages?
Breathe, Sean, breathe.
Yeah, Randy Roth, Randy's here.
Hello, everybody.
I like him already.
We've got Peter Munz. Peter is here from PMCO. Avinash, which I believe has major operations in Troy, right here in Oakland County. We have Pierre and Jerry with us as well, which are our architects on this and engineers. I think Dennis is here. McCollum is here as well. He's been at the table for a long time on this project as well. So I'm trying to think if I'm missing anybody, but I think I've got the whole team right there. So I appreciate their responsiveness in this whole process and eagerness to move this along. So we've all seen this slide many times. This is the current structure. Actually, it's not the current structure. Anybody sees the current structure, there's significant demolition taking place. Matter of fact, you won't even see the end shell anymore. It's all down now. So this is what's being proposed for the revitalization. We already talked about 31 Judson, spent a lot of time on that. So draw your attention to the south deck, which is parallel to the 51-111. I've teased this slide out in the past with you all before, but what we are looking at is moving that up, kind of having a drop point down here, which I believe would be the southeast corner. The current
Southwest.
No, this is southeast, right?
Southwest.
Southwest right here.
Oh, I thought.
Yeah,
I should say.
So that's all right.
You guys keep arguing, you're gonna arm wrestle.
The maps are.
So, and then the north deck, you can see the north deck as well. And then the vacated site is all that green path there. The dotted line represents roughly about the 2 acres. That's part of the MOA that we all agreed to. And so that's roughly that spot there. The gray spot here is also county property as well. This is where the part of the Phoenix parking garage extends over into that lot as well. Ryan, anything else to add on this slide in regards to geography or anything?
There's a compass north
All right, so south deck here, 610 spaces, 7 levels. And so you can see what we're proposing here. I believe we're looking at 2 access points, one on the south side of the deck and then one on the north side as well. So entry and exits. This is the north deck, 5 levels, 429 spaces. We had this conversation many times and we've kind of kept you abreast of this along the way. There's been conversations of where the second garage was going. The county executive in particular was very interested in making sure that we were supporting the city of Pontiac and making sure that they had some parking options as well and solving the parking problems. So putting that closer to the downtown area versus just the Judson. We were looking at another lot as well, but this is in response to that. We will have county employees and 51-111 employees that will utilize this deck as well, because we will not be able to fit everybody into this. So, but you can see the makeup there. The dotted lines that you see on both of these 2 slides represent the river that's underneath. We've consistently shared that with this group as well, just to show where that's located.
And we're not building on it.
We're not building on it. We're being very purposeful.
And we're not intending to daylight it.
Correct.
Yes. Yes.
Not today.
Okay, I
so-
like that.
Proposed development opportunity you could see here. Brian, anything in particular you want to point out on
I
this
think
slide?
there's just the tone of the RFP was this talk about economic redevelopment was really part of the RFP response was saying, what would you do with this site? So what this is also showing, on this first slide here, is showing, okay, here's the parking decks, the vacant site, but what would you do with the remainder of the site?
And properties, right?
And properties, so.
Right. So remember, we've got properties down here, so we're looking at townhome development here. Reserved for surface lot as needed, which is this triangle piece that we own. And then you can see that we're looking potential hotel mixed use up there on that lot that's backs up to lot 9. And then you can see the mauve color there is a potential residential mixed use, 108 units there as well. This is what a rendering would look like potentially. Anything to add?
I like the green roofs.
So is that housing?
This is the BOC After Hour Club. We'll be on the rooftop.
Yes.
And then this is really about the connectivity.
Commissioner, did you have a question?
I just, the, shape like that, those are apartments? Is that what those are? At the,
This one?
yep,
Yes.
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And just conceptually wise, just to be prepared, is that we've actually on the north deck thought, well, let's just at least put the design for a skyway right over that alley into that. So, thinking ahead.
Good. And then you could see the connectivity. So part of this project is reconnecting, as we talked about. So just the roads and the connection, you can see alignments with the alley, walkable promenade there by the north deck that lines up with the road up here, which would take you up towards where Water Street and Airbus is at. So you can see those connection points. Anything I'm missing? We just wanted to give you kind of a brief overview. The slide presentation, the deck, is there one more? Oh, yeah, there is. This is the townhomes that we talked about, that was over down here in this southeast area of the map. So
So I have a question. I know we're talking about mostly parking, but the bus terminal for
Yeah.
this whole area?
it can, I mean, it is on our radar screen, it is on our project. We are having conversations, we will continue to have more conversations in regards to transit. As you know, I'm gonna just kind of flip back here. Where the bus currently drops off is on Water Street, where this housing unit is at, almost where the alley lines up here, where the promenade, I'm trying to think what street is that? Perry, with Perry Street. So it's in between Perry and Saginaw is where the bus location is. So we've had conversations already with Eli Cooper and others about we're gonna have to look at how we redesign where the pickups are and the drop-offs.
And a good facility there. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
a good bus stop,
fast bus coming there and a terminal and.
right?
Yep.
So,
Sean,
yes.
so like in that green area where there's trees and everything, I was just looking at something on Instagram a couple weeks ago about paths and how historically people make the paths versus engineers making the path. And so I'm just curious, are we leaning into what makes the most sense in terms of a path, in terms of walkability, or sometimes the engineers and designers put paths and then inevitably you see foot traffic across the grass because it wasn't the straight A to B.
I don't believe we've gotten that detail in the developers
think what
agreement.
the development team or the architects were just showing, this is a sample of what could happen. I agree with you in terms of, but we do know that, for example, this is important for that connectivity, bringing this over, because this then would allow employees to walk into East Judson as well. The question is, how close is this? What does this look like as well? I mean, people are gonna not go on a right angle every single time, so then that's the people path.
Yeah, and that's fine that you haven't gotten that far yet, but at least we're
We're talking about it.
Talking about it now.
We've heard that. We've heard that from Commissioner Long as well. I've heard that from you before, and
Yeah.
Brendan before as well. So,
Okay.
and I'm sure our engineers and architects,
I saw some nods.
they're nodding there. Did you want to, do either one of you want to speak to that, previous projects in regards to what Madam Chair is talking about, Pierre?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so this is a very large site.
Yeah.
And from our perspective, you have to have a pretty intensive community engagement process to, fully determine what should be on the site. And so I think that's the next step in this whole process. And that's how we get those things figured out.
Sounds fun. All right.
All right. I think this is the last slide. Now if we go over to the county resolution, I just wanna draw your attention to a couple of the whereases, just as pointing this out. I'll let Brian speak to the bonding portion, but we are asking for $66.1 million for this phase. In regards to, I wanna make sure that we understand that, we did put in here, be it further resolved, the 5 business days, which is a prompt pay in the spirit of supporting small businesses and families. We've heard some testimony from labor last time in regards to the significance and the importance of this. So this clause is in this resolution as well. We also wanna make sure that we're being purposeful of ensuring that there's dollars that are being invested in this community and in the county. We talk about, we heard in the economic outlook of the significance and how well Oakland County is doing. And I think that's important when we look at and we're compared to our peer counties of like size. We're consistently competing with the top 10 counties, whether that's Traverse County, Austin, Texas, or Denton County in Texas, or Montgomery in Maryland, and Fairfax in Virginia, some of the other peers that are in front of us. Were mentioned in there as well. This is not a construction project. This is a strategic investment. And in order to ensure that it's a strategic investment in our county and in our community, these clauses are in this particular area that we talked about. We added it to the previous resolution that was passed on the 23rd, but it's important for us to support our small business communities, those that are located in Oakland County as well as Pontiac, and our minority and women-owned. So these clauses are in there. And then in the spirit of transparency, we also have the same clause that was in the previous resolution in regards to reporting back and providing a monthly report on the activity that takes place on this as well. I think I'm gonna turn it over to Brian to add anything else that you'd like to add on this.
Yep, it's a very similar template that we had used for the East Judson project, so nothing should be differently other than just the scope. The difference here is you have a form of it's actually the development agreement. You see it's already been signed by the development team for your consideration. Also inside, there's a bunch of exhibits related to the project costs, the options that we are considering, and we wanted to make sure that we knew what the price was so that when we quote unquote have a change order, it's all inside here. And then also a construction schedule that's in the scope so that we wanna make sure that we meet the time frame of having the ramps built on a timely basis so that when Judson is ready, and then also too, the county does have tenants in 51-111, so there's emphasis on getting the south deck built first so that we address the needs of the tenants that are in that building. And then the last thing on the resolution about the 66.1 bonding, this is the language that allows the county to reimburse themselves from any general fund dollars prior to the issuance of bonds. Please note that we will have to come back to the board to authorize the issuance of any bonds. So I wanna make sure that's the same thing on the Judson project. The second thing I wanna mention about the bonding, again, these are limited full faith and credit bonds, which are similar to that the WRC is coming to you today. These are the dollars are gonna be paid out of our general operating millage. It's not a new millage rate. So I just wanna make sure that we are planning to dovetail the debt service after the 2013 bonds have been repaid in 2027. So it's the same type of bonds you'll be approving for the WRC. This is the same type of bonding resolution that will be coming to you.
I think that's really important to continue to make that point because people don't understand it. And they think we're gonna, raise taxes to throw money at Pontiac. I don't know how many times I've been told that, but this point that it is a strategic investment, consistent with what we've always done, and we have bonds that are falling off, and so this will just replace them, and the residents won't really see the difference in their tax bill.
Yep.
I think it's really important to continue to make that point.
Right. And the point that I've actually talked to other commissioners about is that the current debt service on the bonds that are falling off is about $35 million a year. So that's kind of like the cap we have to stay in. I'm very conscious about that. So, and the last thing I was gonna say, in addition to this investment, we've also let this committee and also the board know is that there's still a CIP, capital improvement plan for this campus. There are things that have been deferred for years that have to be fixed. I work with Misty over there on that side. Matthew is what we work on this project, so appreciate the facilities partnership working with us on that. But if there's any other questions, but we will be back on that.
On the bonding.
On the bonding, yes.
Megan, you have anything?
Yep, so just to piggyback off of what Pierre shared, because I know at the last time we came before you all, there was mention, Commissioner Markham, about engagement continually with the community. As you heard Pierre say, you know, there's many phases to community engagement. While we did the work with Sidewalk Detroit and AECom, the community engagement continues in various forms. So I appreciate Pierre bringing that up and just want to make sure we continue to lean in and let you know that the community will continue to be involved. The website that we have for this specific project, oakgov.com/downtown Pontiac, there's an opportunity for the public to go on, provide feedback. So we are capturing all of those types of questions. Our community engagement team has a dedicated telephone number and email specific for the community to provide feedback and share. And we've actually been having people call and send emails in. So a lot of opportunity to continue to capture the voices because we want to make sure and ensure that this continues to be a collaborative effort alongside of the city of Pontiac and the community members for their voices to be heard. So just wanted to elevate that because I know that that was brought up at our last meeting.
And we heard the number 30 sometimes or whatever you mentioned. We're a third of the way there, but we're not done with this project. So I just want to let you know we've had significant community engagement.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we have something on the 12th next week, right?
Yes, Executive Coulter will be having a town hall in collaboration with the city of Pontiac. City Council President Mike McGinnis will be there as well at the Phoenix Place Apartments, which is right next to the demolition site of the Phoenix Center. So very excited about that on Thursday next week for those people, the tenants specifically in that building will be able to have questions answered. So we're looking forward to that opportunity as well.
And we expect to hear some complaints about the noise that's going on, given the demolition that's currently happening. But so I mean that's sounds of progress is what it is. So Madam Chair, we open it up to you for any questions from you or the board, the committee members.
Yeah, thank you. First up is Commissioner Johnson.
Madam Chair, I have 7 questions. If you'd like to do me all at once or put people in between me, that's fine. Hi. Didn't think you all would get away with without some questions from me about my least favorite mandatory part of this project. Parking. One time, not a question, but CalPass, awesome. I know Commissioner Long is a huge fan of them. I think anyone who went to Michigan State ended up being a really big fan of CalPass. They're fantastic.
That was in the article.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Like, I think we should do that. So yeah, I'm really glad that you brought that up. On the transit note, I'm glad that Commissioner Markham brought that up and actually just kind of curious if we've engaged. I don't know, on the map behind you all. So right below Orchard Lake, on the east side of the train tracks, but on the west side of the loop, there's a plot of land. I don't know who owns that grassy spot. MDOT owns the parking lot immediately to the south of it.
Right here?
Yeah. But I guess I would recommend that we consider engaging them because it's just grassy land next to a MDOT parking lot that might be beneficial for easing some of the transportation concerns.
That's where the station is too, right?
Correct. Yeah, the train station is right next to that.
Right?
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
So that's just a suggestion.
It is used for other like bus serving.
That MDOT lot is yeah. So it kind of lends itself to that. So that's just a suggestion. 2,
These questions or comments?
they are. We'll start with
I'm counting, so we're at 31. So.
Would you say that parking garages use a lot of rebar?
I would
Yes.
turn it over to the experts.
Yes, they
I
do.
imagine
Yes.
the answer is yes.
Would rebar be one of the more expensive components in terms of sourcing for a parking garage?
precast concrete requires a lot of rebar,
Okay.
post-tension steel in general, so it's a significant cost component.
So if a international tariff on rebar of 50%, which happened last night, went into effect, actually, it would require significantly more investment in this project?
It
Not to
may,
go from Michigan.
although we worked really hard to lock in our price and our cost for the budget, and that's in the document as well.
Which accounts for the tariffs.
Which accounts for tariffs. and-
Yep, so in the budget, Commissioner, we did add another 5% related to just the tariff component. And we actually upped it from prior to what they had already recommended in the budget. So we did add additional dollars in the budget. So the 66.15 includes a component for tariffs that we just don't know yet.
Got it. So we're hoping that it's quite a bit cheaper than what we're quoting.
Yes, I wanna just emphasize, I mean, in terms of the timing, in the schedule, there's a long lead items, which is, this is what it is, we can lock in these prices, but we gotta get through the schematic design and make sure, so, but
Sure.
very, very conscious on our side.
Okay, thank you. Sky bridges, I know that they were mentioned. This is not a question, this is just I really don't like sky bridges. They really discourage any foot traffic on the ground. I know that a lot of people from the 20th century really liked them because they could avoid interacting with the plebeians on the ground, but I want people to interact with the plebeians on the ground. I want people to spend money at coffee shops on the ground. We have to actually encourage economic activity in downtown Pontiac, and sky bridges avoid doing that purposefully.
All right, my only response to that is the need for possibly the tenants that are in 51-111, if that was a request from them saying, okay, we would need it for purposes of getting into that building versus going down. It's just an option.
Are there
right now.
doors though on the first floor?
Yeah, there are, but
So the need is to avoid interacting with the plebeians on the streets.
at the request,
Snow and rain too.
Right, well, and that's fair. I have an umbrella that people can borrow if they'd like to.
we'll build a longer canopy.
Can I make a comment on the sky bridge? I mean,
Yeah.
typically for parking decks, it's a little different when you're talking about like skyscrapers, building to building. Parking decks, sky bridges are good for safety. So you get people working late at night, you get, people staying in late. It's good for them to be able to walk across the sky bridge to get to their car without having to go down to the first floor, in those cases.
I thank you. I'll take that point. I'd like to think that we won't have that many people working until 11 o'clock at night. I know I like to sometimes. But also, we did just ramp up security on this parcel. I saw that email from the sheriff's department. So we do have dedicated security now specifically for this. So I'd like to think that we're mitigated that. Because if that's the concern, then I'd like to save money on the sheriff's front. Because that's a lot of money that we're now spending on this.
I just wanna make sure, I think the sheriff's might be for the demo project that's going on, cause we are seeing some foot traffic despite the fences and so forth that people are getting by. So we've asked for
That's not permanent.
what's that?
That's not a permanent addition.
That's not necessarily permanent, but
Okay.
so I just wanna make sure.
And that is not just for Pontiac, it's all over Michigan. We're seeing more people going into work sites.
Right.
We're seeing it all over.
And posting it on social media,
Yes.
which happened.
Correct.
We'll do an easy one right now. Are they built simultaneously or sequentially, the two garages?
Our primary objective is to get that south deck. We gotta get that done first, but I think they are gonna try to work simultaneously as much as possible.
So the schedule intended to be simultaneous with the south deck starting first and ending first.
Got it, okay.
So no delay on the south deck and then the north deck will follow.
Okay. I see that there's several options here. There's an option to add another floor of parking. Is there additional options like to add a vertiport cap or a heliport cap if that were ever a desire?
Well, the buildings have not been designed yet, so
Okay.
if we want to add a heliport landing, we could do that.
Cool. Just trying to think blue sky.
For the board, of course, because we come in all the time.
He's thinking about
Yolanda is bigger than that.
That's that one. We just have two left. I just, this is not the first time that I've said this, but first floor retail, first floor retail, first floor retail, cannot emphasize enough how important that is. Especially, like, I'm willing to argue about the south one, but on the north deck, especially if that is abutting the Pontiac Grand Central Park, then like, the last thing I wanna do is have just a concrete wall right next to that public space.
So I'm gonna make one comment, and then I'm gonna turn it over to Brian, but I just wanna make sure that we understand too on this project. I mean, this is an investment for the county, but we are also trying to respect the community engagement as well. The community engagement from business owners at least, and some residents about the first floor retail hasn't been at the same place where it has been at the board. That doesn't mean, we'll continue to look at that and so forth, but I just wanna make sure that I'm providing that feedback.
When you say that, are they resistant to that for fear of
There's plenty of
competition?
spaces along the downtown for other retail to locate in vacant buildings. Why do we need to add more retail here? Those are the comments.
Okay.
I just wanna share the
So-
feedback.
No, I appreciate that.
So the other thing though too, in the options that are listed there, the first floor retail in the north deck is gonna be another $6 million. Cause there's a different, it's not just a 11-foot high, you've gotta go much higher. It changes the support structure, so we did go through that it's just so that we have that as an option. One of the things we also are looking at in terms of the if you have on the north side, the development where you have the mixed use and the apartments that was kind of V-shaped building, there is that opportunity right there. I mean, maybe is it a better use to have a coffee shop in the first floor of an apartment complex for that? That's somebody, and it's the last thing I just wanna say, I'm not sure that the county wants to, essentially, if we own the deck or somebody else owns the deck, do they wanna have that retail, cause now could sit space empty? And then are you contributing to a lot more vacant space in downtown Pontiac? I mean, it's just gotta be a collaboration, but it is something that we started to price, we still have to look at it, so your comments have not been heard on deaf ears.
Okay, well, and then I guess segues to my last question, which is, it was a very, very pretty rendering. I'm a huge fan of renderings, but I'm often disappointed by them. The Illiches being the brute force of most of my trauma with pretty renderings gone unanswered.
Kill the dream.
I know, but I know that this is just for the garages, right? So like all the other future development would be a hypothetical future thing. But it does, at least in theory, allocate all of the land to some future development. I'm wondering, where does the next tranche of 700, 1,000 county employees go after this tranche?
And I mean, additional 700 employees?
Yes.
I mean, we have 51,111, but we have leases with the state of Michigan. So if
Thinking like
somehow
20,
strategically
45.
we think, you're building a 25-year plan, I mean, there might be conversations about, do we occupy the other floors in the future? But that's not where we're at now with 51,111. Where we're at is moving those leases from 27 and 28 out to 32 and 33.
I appreciate it. The other thing about viability is the balance of a city. Keep in mind, when the state or the county has a building, it's tax exempt. Only thing that the city would get is any income tax, which I get. So the question is, what does that contribute to? Also too, you're putting more office, 9 to 5. That's all, So the question is that long-term balance of saying, okay, get 700 employees, is there something else? Keep in mind too, there's a building south of Judson that's empty. I mean, there's other possible areas, so maybe that's the site, which is vacant as well, the old IRS building. And so maybe it's not another 700, maybe it's another 300, but that could be, and that's also,
Then we get to another slide.
yeah, I just wanna say. Right here.
Right there.
Yeah, so here's the IRS building that's vacant. The county owns this parcel as well. So there's opportunity here to think that long term, so maybe you aren't focusing on just what we already own, there is possibility there, but I think this is where the studies and other economic. Keep in mind too, is that I would like to hope to think that we're getting outside developers to say, let's pile on what the county is doing. You're putting the first stone in that pond, let the ripple effect go. Give us some time. I appreciate that, we would want it all tomorrow, but it takes a while. But
I'm in no rush. My time horizon for public policy is 2100. I'm the youngest county level elected official in Southeast Michigan. I have to think 2100. So I'm not in a rush, and I understand that like this is a ton of work that we're doing right now, but I will hopefully still be extremely involved in Southeast Michigan in 2040, in 2050, in 2060. And I'd like to think that we are laying the groundwork for a blueprint for me to still run with after Coulter is long out of office.
I'll be dead, I understand what.
I get that point.
I think.
That's why he's my kind of guy.
I think the one thing though too, is I think this development team is probably like, thank God these negotiations are over. Commissioner, I have been asking those same things. This has always been a living legacy, long-term project. What are we not thinking about that we should be thinking about today?
Yeah.
That, I can't stress enough that we're pushing them into areas that I think, as someone of our team member says on our fiscal, you have to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. So
yeah,
it is very true.
And I think it's very important. Your questions are important, but it also helps facilitate the understanding with our developers. We're very pleased with the Endeavor Group and the team that they brought together. And I mean, they're cutting edge in regards to really understanding how things fit together in the city. There's a bigger part of this deck slide presentation that really tries to capture the essence of Pontiac as well, that you didn't see because we tried to keep it to 8 slides.
Yeah.
But it really.
We did submit 30 or 30.
With the thought process, I did. But some of the renderings in the back in terms of that, I mean, I really appreciate how they took the connectivity of the people of Pontiac, and the side of that deck really reflects what's down there.
Mhm.
And we just really want to focus like this is the deck.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of schematic design that has to happen,
Yeah.
but I appreciate that, so.
These are folks who've come in on weekends just to try to get a feeling and a vibe and an understanding of what's going on in the city and how to make sure that this integrates and not, foreign to this project that's just, hey, this is a construction project. We say it's a strategic investment, it is. And we throw transformation out all the time, but this is a transformational legacy project. And I know Brian will be passed by that time. We hope you continue to carry the torch.
Yeah,
Madam Chair, I yield.
thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Miller is up next.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes.
So, always questions I always ask, this is to follow the responsible bidder policy of the county.
Absolutely.
So other question, so as the good work that we're doing in Oakland County, there's more people moving in that own companies, construction companies. And they're breaking the mold, like there was a gentleman I know I introduced you to last week, his whole family lived in Macomb, he's the first one to move out. And they're a major company, Macomb. So is there any opportunity like when we do the other areas for other contractors to bid on this? Any of the work that we're doing, like say the IRS building per se, are we gonna do, or is it gonna be the same, is it we gonna fall with the same people on the whole?
I mean, this is what we have in front of us. This is
Right, I understand,
our
yeah.
team. But for instance, the IRS building, we don't own that.
No, I'm saying, it was just hypothetical, right? Like,
Okay.
but other stuff that we do outside of the Phoenix, Judson, like,
Oh, like the capital improvement plan here
Correct, yes.
on the campus?
well, anything in Pontiac there? Or is that all gonna be the same which is fine, like I get, we went through the RFP, we did the process. I'm just asking
Well,
because
just
it
like
was
Granger
asked
did
of
their-
me.
Granger did their first bid package out, so the
Yeah.
question is, so the process of allowing, it's all gonna be out for bid.
Oh, it's all out for bid.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, and go ahead.
But I think it might be helpful, like the spelling out the bid, like the point structure for the subcontracting.
Oh,
It's in the resolution, you spelled.
It's the
Is
same
that-
as the.
Yeah.
The con-
Yeah.
general- no, I know what it is,
Okay.
I just wanna make sure, cause like I said, I know the answer, but I was asked to ask the question, and I'm a man of my word, so.
Yeah. I mean, we are supporting and looking to support county-based businesses, those businesses that are in Pontiac, those that are in hub zone certified areas. I mean, that's very important to us. It is on this project, just like it is on 31 East Judson. So hopefully folks are motivated by that. We've also had 3 different forums that we've invited just Pontiac-based business, then we invited labor, and then we invited all small businesses in Oakland County, extended an opportunity to share with them this project. And hopefully, whether they want to subcontract with somebody or whether they want to go out as the prime for somebody, we're trying to facilitate that conversation to take place. Our procurement team is doing a great job with
I
that.
appreciate that. I already
Thank
knew
you.
the answer to that, like I said. I was asked, so I have to ask. The last thing I have to say is, I do like the grass area that was talked about, where they said sidewalks and stuff, because I feel like more people are out that want to go out and have picnics and all that stuff and just hang out and walk through grass. Because like we all grew up in the concrete jungle, most of us in the concrete jungle, and grass is nice. And my grandfather always told me one thing you can never make more is property, right? So I like that we have some grass areas, so it's not all just buildings. So I do appreciate that.
Yep.
That wasn't a question, that was just a statement.
Thank you.
I'm all done, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Woodward?
Yes. Thank you very much. Let's zero in on some garages. So are we, the ownership structure, are we gonna own both garages? Is that?
That's the intent right now.
The intent right now?
Yes, and that's, the reason is the cost essentially is less right now. It doesn't say that we can't sell or sublease these floors, like for example, on the south deck or even on the north deck, we're setting it up that the building can be condoed out. Just common area maintenance, and that if somebody that's in 51-111 says, I want the entire 5th floor, we now have a vehicle to essentially sublease it. The only thing we have to worry about is how we do the financing structure for that, so, but we're giving ourselves the option, or at least giving you the option to do that.
Excellent. And what's the lifespan? Because these two will be my 7th and 8th. Usually involving that guy back there. That's before in terms of parking structure. What's the lifespan of these two?
50 years, so significant maintenance is required. And that assumes a capital improvement on a regular basis.
Ongoing repair.
Got it. Starts at 50.
Which didn't take place with the Phoenix.
Oh, I know. Nor in some in a city that Dennis and I live in. Infrastructure, so electrical infrastructure. So first, are we being intentional before we build these things on how to maximize EV charging infrastructure in these parking structures?
Great question.
So right now, it says a minimum of 2% of the parking spaces will be EV. 2% as a minimum. It was set up initially for that all the EV chargers would be on the 1st floor, but we changed the agreement that we are gonna allow for EV charging stations vertically. And that it's all set up. We already know the price per state stall or whatever charging station. So we've built that into both of the decks. I did talk to internally to Julie Lyons-Picker that she said, oh yeah, the standard is anywhere from 5 to 7%. So I'm like, we had already talked about that. So it's the same thing with the ADA, number of ADA spaces, all that type of stuff. So we are conscious about all those fronts.
Perfect. Pushing that number up better. On the green space, and this is also related to another massive development project, any conversation about making sure that there is electric capacity to activate that space?
Yes.
Good.
I'm
done.
I'm just gonna say, how many times have I said water, sewer, drainage, I mean, I have all that. How we kind of figure out working with the city, since this is essentially what is that 2+ acres that has to go back to the city, is working with the city is like, what do you envision on this area? I also look at it as an area as something for employee benefit. I mean, if you have 700 employees, as you saw, this is where people are gonna look north into the park area. How do they be engaged? Invite them back out. So we have to come up with something that's 24/7 for the employees as well. Have them stick around or come early, so.
No, and another project in my neck of the woods that took a parking lot and turned it into a really great park. We didn't plan out, well, I guess maybe not initially, we certainly didn't like, when you open up the ground, put in that infrastructure so that for concerts in the park and things like that, that make it so much easier and so much cheaper than having to haul out generators and everything that are loud and unsightly and all that type of stuff, put it underneath, make it work. So glad to hear that that's happening.
There's a light pollution,
Those were, I guess like my last comment, and I underscore some of the things that everybody talked about. This development, this project, without question, legacy making, transformational. It is also changing the way, in my opinion, of public-private partnerships. I had the opportunity to talk to some developers at the Mackinac Policy Conference. I've talked to other big developers and other big projects around the county. And every once in a while, the conversation comes up like, well, who else is doing this? And I'm like, I don't know, but we're doing this. We're doing this to make sure the community benefits. We're doing it to make sure there's a model practice that ensures we're using the absolute best labor possible because we want to get the longest lifespan out of these buildings. We're doing it because we're seeking out partners who, developers have a mission to make money and do their things, and we want them to be able to do that. We want to be an attractive place to do that. But come to this space where we have an ability to put a little finger on the scale to achieve the outcomes that might not be as profitable. Everyone can make money participate in the project from a public perspective, that we make certain that we live into the promise to help accelerate the one downtown in our county, or in our county seat, that has been a little bit left behind. And it is a beautiful story. Some of these developers, kind of like went cross-eyed when I was talking about, I'm like, trust me, look at this project, watch this project, read on everything about this project. It is a demonstration of what's possible. And I'm looking for, I was talking to some leadership at the Michigan Association of Counties about how to bring these principles in, because without the leadership in this county, we wouldn't be here today. And I want to commend all of you who've been at the forefront doing this, giving us a framework that produces a product which, from a development agreement, this is without question the most beautiful one I've ever seen. So.
And to that point, you should know that we're documenting from the beginning all the way through this project.
Wait, you have a documentary guy?
So, because it is different, our approach and how we're handling this. And I continue to say, it's not just a construction project, it's the way that Oakland County is doing business. So.
Awesome, good, thank you.
Alrighty, so the Endeavor Pontiac Partners LLC is a group of these folks.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
Okay. And our goal today with this is to obviously recommend forward to finance. I'm probably gonna go to lunch during this presentation in finance, just so y'all know. Yeah, so at least we get to see it again, if you missed anything. I wanna just double check with my Republican partners over here. Anything you wanna ask, say, throw at the wall, see if it sticks? Go ahead, Commissioner Whiteford.
Well, when you talked about the decks, we're talking about the decks today. So in public-private partnership, in the financing, is there some point, because in the very beginning of this project, you were talking about potentially having a public-private partnership on the fees for the deck to help pay, but since we're bonding it, it would have to be careful.
We've done the cost analysis.
Yes, so I did look at the cost analysis. It would be cheaper for the county to initially finance the construction, but then at the end of the day, if we were to condo out the parking deck and say, let's sell these 3 floors, we have the ability. But you are correct, commissioners, that if we use tax exempt bonds, we have to make sure that we have the ability to collapse a tax exempt financing to make it taxable. And that's one of the things I'm working on with an RFQ for financing of this. So we are gonna be looking for financing partners that allow us that flexibility.
Would that be, that's allowed under the law?
Oh, yes,
if you have it drawn up the right way,
yes. Yes, so if you recall, there was a great RFP from the boards on bond tax and other council last fall. And there are 4 firms that have been qualified, so that's the pool that we would be looking to bring into partnership on this to represent the board as their bond counsel on this.
and on community engagement, Megan, are the employees, I mean, and a lot of employees don't know who's going there or, you know, what.
No, they know.
They know.
Well, but I know it's open to the public and the tenants and who's on community engagement, but are you getting responses from employees?
So we actually, from an employee standpoint, April Lynch, who has been part of our team as well, we sent out an employee survey to get feedback that HED, our architect and engineer, has actually gathered and has been included in the build out for 31 East Judson and beyond. So we've definitely made sure that the employees' voices are being captured as well. And that same link on our website, their voices can continue to be captured. And I constantly drive them there and say, hey, employees, if you have things that you want to continually share, that's the space to go as well, so.
And filter out any disgruntlement, you know.
Or include it and be mindful of it, so.
Well, you did on the business and the first story stuff, so.
We hear everybody, not just the positive comments.
Yeah.
No, we can tell based on how you've included the what's it called, quick pay or
Prompt pay.
prompt pay, and other things like that. So that is not missed on us. Commissioner?
The prompt pay, is there any worry about we prompt pay somebody and we've got an issue with that contractor?
Well,
I mean,
the prompt pay is, when we get a bill to be paid for, that means that the general contractor is certifying that the invoices that they receive from the subcontractor are ready to go. So, and so they're certifying to that, and then so we're paying them, and once we pay them, then they shouldn't be sitting on their money, they should be processing it. Now, if something comes along and there's an issue, then we may wanna retain in the future, other dollars that are in place.
So 2 things also, in addition to the resolution, that prompt pay language is included in section 6 of the development agreement, so it's actually already agreed to by the development team, not by the resolution. I do have to say that the developers asked the county to be prompt pay within 5 days, but we
That was a quick conversation.
But I just wanted to make sure that we paid them within 21 days or whatever, something that we make sure that what was being submitted was right. So, but once we've signed off on what they've submitted to the county, they should be able to sign off and prompt pay the subs.
And we've talked in front of different meetings about a procurement promise that we need to be making to bidders and suppliers to process payment as quick as possible. I know procurement is working diligently on that. It's important, that we're not waiting 30, 60, 90 days for a contractor to get their first payment. Sometimes once that first payment comes in, and then it comes in a little bit more quicker, but we should be mindful that people have engaged in a lot of cost in making sure that we're certifying their invoices and doing things properly and paying them as quick as possible so that they can pay their people is critical.
All right. Oh,
I just my last comment is I do wanna say that the other folks that were on the table with the county side, procurement, Aaron Wagner, Matt McDougal as well, Barman, owners rep, corp counsel was involved in this whole process. So there was a team of folks that were, prior to presenting this to you today.
excellent. And hopefully our colleagues on the Democratic caucus are listening in on YouTube so that some of this will be relevant and pertinent to them in advance. It looks like we're all set with questions and concerns on this, so
Yes.
we can go ahead and prompt the vote, and this is again recommending and forwarding to finance.
Screenshot.
I have a screenshot of the votes. I gotta bring it back to my boss.
I think they gave.
Oh, you're thinking.
So you can get paid? Yes. Promptly?
Is it posted?
Not yet. We got someone debating their internal feelings.
Yeah.
A little more joy.
You have 5 yeas, 2 nays.
Thank you. That motion passes. And thank you, gentlemen and lady, for your time this morning.
Okay, thank you.
And I think that takes us on to our next item on the agenda, which is the Water Resources Commissioner recommendations. So I'll take a motion to recommend and forward to finance the pledging Oakland County's full faith and credit for bonds issued by the Oakland Macomb Interceptor Drainage District. Is there a motion? Moved by Commissioner Miller, supported by
I'll support it.
Thank you. And who do we have today from WRC?
Jeff Lewis.
Come on up, and thank you so much for your patience.
Ben Lewis.
I guess you could take the presentation now. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Ben Lewis. I'm Assistant Chief Engineer and Water Resource Commissioner. With me today virtually, Joe Kalani from Clark Hill, our legal consultant, and Steve Burke from MFCI, our financial consultant. We're here to discuss the refinancing of the Oakland Macomb Interceptor Drainage District project, which was financed in 2015 for $8.5 million. We were contacted by the Treasury Department, the request to refinance our existing grant loan or SAW loan. So with that, I would ask Steve Burke to maybe go through what the state asked for and why they're asking for it and what savings they're gonna give to the county. Steve, would you like?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, everyone. Stephen Burke from MFCI. We are the financial advisor to WRC and the Oakland Macomb Interceptor Drain on this project. So the state reached out to the Drainage District in January and asked for the consideration of refinancing this SAW loan. SAW loans were only issued in 1 year. In every other year, SAW loans are issued as, or SAW are issued as grants. And in this case, the Treasury would like for a more efficient process internally to Treasury to allow them to recycle the money faster to get it back out. Given that these loan payments are kind of trickling in, it is more beneficial for Treasury to get a lump sum back on this. And in doing that, they're offering the Drainage District at least 5% net present value savings for their troubles here. So at a minimum, the Drainage District is going to save approximately $212,000, and we believe at current interest rates that savings is going to be closer to $300,000. So unique situation, but doing Treasury a favor here, and they're providing some savings for our troubles.
Federal Treasury, state Treasury?
Michigan Department of Treasury, so the Municipal Finance Authority, and Eagle, who are administering the loan.
Thank you. I know Commissioner Whitebird has questions.
Oh, yeah, this was interesting when I saw this packet. It's just a one-time thing. Steve, is this, you ever seen this before, or?
No, this is a unique situation. They're doing it with GLWA too. They also have a SAW loan from the same year, and there's a couple of very small drainage districts on the west side of the state that I believe have one that Treasury has also asked them to refund. So kind of uncharted territory, is a unique situation, and Treasury rules just dictate that they have to get this money back out. And given the small amounts of these payments coming in, it's not very efficient for them to give a $500,000 SAW loan. I think the average size of these is much larger, and so by paying it off all at once, they can just redeploy that money back out into the state, and OMID gets some savings for their trouble.
And that's the policy now, is it's going to be SAW grants, not SAW loans.
Yeah, the SAW loans only occurred in the 1 year. So this was a decision from the MFA and Eagle, and their top folks came to us and kind of asked the questions. It was a soft ask from them, and I think they appreciate us accommodating that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further on this? Candace Miller chimed in on this at all? I'll leave it at that. We can go ahead and prompt the vote, please.
Commissioner Woodward? You have 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, that motion carries. Joe, thank you for coming. I know you didn't get to say much if you wanted to.
I learned a long time ago, unless I'm asked a question. So,
Thank you anyway, and
have a great day.
thank you, that motion carries. I guess a few of you are sticking around for our next item, which is 10B, the Water Resources Commissioner authorizing the issuance of bonds to fund improvements to the City of Pontiac water distribution system. This is a recommendation of Board to Finance. Can I get a motion to do such? Moved by Commissioner Markham, supported by Commissioner, thank you. All right, Ben and Eric, yes, thank you so much. Steve, we see you. And you gentlemen are welcome to begin.
Yes, we're here today to request the full faith and credit of the county for our Fairview Water Main Replacement Project in the city of Pontiac. We were here in April, requested the notice of intent to issue bonds, which we received. And now we're in the process, we're gonna request full faith and credit to go to the state for the SRF funding. And this project, as you recall, the project itself is on the north side of town, between Saginaw and Cesar Chavez. And it encompasses about 18,000 feet of water main that is going to be replaced. And with that, if there's any questions, we'd be glad to take.
Thank you. You know, I didn't ask in the last iteration, but what was it, a week ago? The USA's credit rating was downgraded. I'm just curious how that impacts us in terms of the bonding process, if at all.
I would not expect it to. This is a program, these bonds are gonna be sold directly to the MFA through the DWSRF program. I would not expect that to directly impact these bonds. I believe the county still has a solid AAA credit rating for both Moody's and S&P.
Okay, and the county having such a amazing rating, that isn't going to be impacted by the country's decline in such space?
I don't believe so, but I'd let the experts speak to that, at least Steve Berg.
Steve, any thoughts on that?
Sure. Yeah, I would just say generally, after we saw that occur, there was a move higher in rates briefly. That has already been kind of unwound. I think the market had this expectation, and when the first downgrade occurred, gosh, I think it was 7 or 8 years ago, there was a brief blip, and I think kind of life goes on, and there's only one United States Treasury issuing debt. So the effect would be strictly on Treasury rates moving up, which is kind of the basis for all other rates to be priced. So an indirect effect, but certainly economic activity and inflation and things like that have a much greater effect than that bond rating change.
Okay, that's very helpful, thank you. Anything further on item 10B from the committee? Seeing no hands, we could go ahead and prompt the vote.
You have 6 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, motion carries. And I believe that's it for the two of you in this regard. Thank you so much, keep up the good work. We are now at item 10C. This is a recommendation and forward to finance to the Water Resource Commissioner amend the scope of services and extend the contract of Auger Klein Aller Architects, Inc. Moved by Commissioner Miller, supported by Commissioner Markham. Thank you. All right. welcome again. Good morning, and the floor is yours, gentlemen. Thank you.
Good morning. Steve Forth, Chief Manager, Oakland County Water Resources Office. Here with Brian Coburn, who's manager with our office as well. And we're here to request an extension of architect contract for design services for our new public works building with a specific scope of services included in that. Brian's going to give us a very brief summary of where we are on this.
Okay.
Absolutely. So planning for our new building began back in 2018. Seems so long ago now. Such a different world before COVID. And we were using Auger Klein, or we call them AKA known as AKA. Sorry. Architects, getting to the point of preliminary design before the pandemic kind of stalled everything, right? So we had to kind of regroup, wait for life to come back to normal. So we resurrected the project back in 2021. We continued with AKA where we left off previously to review the programming and space needs. We were here just a few weeks ago and received approval to begin preliminary design for the site over on Vanguard, shared site with the Parks Department. We have 38 acres there that we're going to do the preliminary design on that was approved by the board. So now we're ready to extend AKA's contract to revise existing building plans that we developed way back when to meet our current needs. You know, we've changed, we've grown, we've morphed into something different than we were 5 years ago. We're revising the plans to match that. So what we're gonna do under this contract are the design phase tasks. That includes civil engineering, structural, wetland mitigation, landscape architect, stormwater, lead coordination, and then at the end we'll have a set of plans, some value engineering will be completed, and we'll have cost estimates of what this building project is gonna cost. The limited scope is gonna be completed by the end of December, at which time we'll return to this committee and then to the full board for approval and authorization to begin. So the budget amendment is also included in there. There's $750,000 plus or minus that we're requesting be transferred out of reserves that we have in the drain equipment fund to fund the activities of the architect. And then I just wanted to give a couple updates on the project since we're supposed to come monthly and give you guys updates. I wanted to share these with you. We're currently working on a request for proposals for the owner's representative and for the construction manager. So we're gonna get those on the street hopefully in the next couple of weeks, working with our purchasing department. Then our WRC will be coming back to EDI probably next month to seek permission to acquire a small strip of property from MDOT on Vanguard to allow access, vehicular access to the site from Vanguard Drive. There's a strip that kind of blocks the county property from Vanguard. So we'll be back to talk about that soon. So there's our update. Thank you.
Appreciate the update. I don't see any hands on my digital screen. Mr. Whiteford.
So, I mean, we authorized you guys to go explore and get proposals to build this building, right? I mean, we have no idea what the number's gonna come in and whether it's feasible or, right? I mean, that's, we authorized the exploration.
Correct, yeah, we've done the financial analysis to know that it's financially feasible. We're working with the CFO and his team. And so we know financially we can do this. Now we're at the point where we've come and we've received the land and now we're gonna do the design of the building and look at what the revised cost is. 'Cause we haven't done a cost estimate for 5 years.
Design only is, I guess, the key concept.
Yes.
That's all we're authorized for.
Correct.
And we'll be coming back to the
Right.
board for further authorization for final design.
The architect, we need to give the architect $750,000 for over the next up to 25 years to, we're still at the design or exploration.
Yeah, it's the architect and also
all the
maybe another
sub-consultants.
7 or 8 sub-consultants. There's a civil engineer involved and landscaping architect and all sorts of folks who make up the team to put into this design to have it well thought out before we come to the board to move further with this project.
And you've got the money for this? I mean, that's.
It's on our drain equipment fund, and so there's no impact on the county's general fund.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other questions on this item? Seeing none, we can go ahead and prompt the vote on item 10C.
You have 6 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, that motion carries.
Thank you.
WRC. And now we are at item 11A, which is under Economic Development Departmental recommendations. This will be a recommendation to the board. 11A, professional services contract with Lakeside Advisory Services LLC for economic development support. Is there a motion to recommend to the board. Commissioner Whiteford moves and Commissioner Miller supports. Good morning, Dom.
Good morning, Commissioners.
What do you got for us?
So I am sitting before you today, presenting information on the Lakeside Advisory Professional Services Agreement that is in your, that is before you. Just to set the table, and many of you know this already, Oakland County is responsible for approximately $130 billion of GDP in the state, larger than 14 states. We have approximately 700 companies from 34 countries here, and we have approximately 65% of the world's top OEMs and automotive suppliers. So those things make us very sensitive to changes in trade policy at the federal level. And as you know, there have been many changes recently that we are navigating in coordination with our state and federal partners. That necessitates us getting some additional assistance as we navigate those things on behalf of our local economic interests and our companies that we support. What we're looking at today is moving forward and getting your authorization to proceed with a contract that would allow us to do just that. Under purchasing policies and procedures, section 2200.2, anytime we are considering a professional services agreement that involves a former Oakland County employee, we are meant to come before the BOC, and that is why we are here today. This would allow us to do a number of things which are outlined in the scope of work. They include navigating MOUs. There has been an increasing amount of subnational diplomacy and engagement. Incoming requests for MOUs, including from Mexico, Armenia, Italy, and other countries who we have deep ties with and who have very similar economic profiles as Oakland County. There is a need to navigate export strategy changes as we have, substantive changes at the MEDC with their trade team, as well as some loss of personnel at the U.S. Commercial Service. Some folks that were actually on our campus and are no longer employed by the federal government, who we have long relationships with. So those changes also require some guidance. And then we are also looking at the opportunity for continued subnational diplomacy as we've been engaged with consul generals from Mexico, Canada, Italy, and Japan in the last 6 months at a much higher and much more frequent pace than is typical. So all these things are drivers for wanting to get this arrangement in place. The person that we are looking at to do this work for us is Gene Broad, our former director. And as you know, Gene spent 30 plus years working in international trade, leading at General Motors, leading at MEDC, and of course, some time leading those efforts here at the county. And so we think it's a perfect opportunity to kind of transition into my leadership, get her assistance as we do so, and also take advantage of her relationships and her expertise. So that is what is before you today, and I'm happy to take any questions you may have about this matter.
Thank you. Let me just double check any hands. So the Lakeside Advisory Services LLC, is that a new entity or has it been around?
So I think this is an entity that has been in place, that has been used by the principal, Gene, but this is the first time they'll be doing work with the county, absolutely.
Okay. Any other thoughts on this? Commissioner Smiley?
Thank you. Actually, this question might be for you. I'm just kind of curious. So if not for the former employee of Oakland County element to this, would this not come before us? Is that the only reason we were looking at it, or?
Correct. That's my understanding.
That's all I wanted to clear. Thank you.
Commissioner?
Yeah, I mean, you have funds, these are professional services, you have funds in your budget that can cover this, and asking for additional dollars, but to Commissioner Smiley's point of view.
That is correct.
Yeah.
We're very talented people that sometimes move on and retire.
Yeah.
And
I knew she'd be back. Mr. White.
And we were sad to see her retire, and now it's a nice opportunity. She was awesome, so.
Admittedly, I've been bending her ear for free, and that is no longer possible, right? The frequency of questions and things that we need guidance on is too much, right? So this will be helpful to the department.
Great. Anything else on this? And Chairman Woodward, thank you for bringing up the part about professional services, because we see it, especially with our wonderful Cheryl here, we see that a lot in our budget book. And not here, definitely not at Oakland County, but in other spaces, people feel like it's so broad and non-specific professional services that it could be manipulated, you know, and misused and things like that. But again, certainly not here in our wonderful county of Oakland. And I think that's all Mr. Smiley, you already.
That's
you're
all I
set.
have.
Okay. Other than that, we can then go ahead and prompt the vote on item 11A, which is a recommendation to the board.
You have 6 yeas, 0 nays.
Excellent, that motion carries. And you can give Jeannie the good news.
Thank you, Commissioners,
Look
appreciate it.
forward to the updates. All right, plowing through. Now we're on item 12, which is Facilities Management Department recommendations. First up is 12A, which is a recommend and forward to finance Facilities Management Oakland County Health Lab relocation project to medical examiner's building. Take a motion to do so. Commissioner Miller, thank you, and seconded by Commissioner Smiley. Thank you both. Welcome, and Missy, you can get us started.
Hi, good morning, Commissioners. Misty Race, Manager of Capital Planning and Design with Facilities Management.
Sarah Stoddard, Health and Human Services.
Deanne Stafford, Health and Human Services.
Ed Joss, Director of Facilities Management.
All right, so we are planning on relocating the health lab from Community Health Resource Crisis Center to the Medical Examiner's facility going across the drive. This is a planned CIP project for this fiscal year. I'd like to turn it over to Sarah for a brief intro of what this project is about and why the move.
Thank you. Welcome, Sarah.
We're currently occupying the space at the Community Resource and Crisis Center. Right now, we are the only Oakland County operation in that building, and we are looking to move over to the medical examiners. They currently have a dry laboratory on the second floor that is not being used. It's very open space, which would allow us to expand our current operations and ensure efficiencies as we grow. We are a regional laboratory here in the state of Michigan, and running out of space in our current location, and this would allow us for more of that open concept design and expand on some additional testing that we could be doing.
Keep going.
I can talk about what the project entails. Okay. Would you have anything else that you want?
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know, we didn't start this project without the funding. Unfortunately, we had $2 million clawed back with the ARPA grants that we were planning on using to renovate the lab. So that is why we are coming to ask for the additional money, but if you want to talk about the enhancements, so.
Yes, yeah. So currently today, there's 2 different funds that are identified. One's the HRSA grant, and the other, of course, is the CIP. So for this lab, the project entails the switch of occupancy and the utilization from a dry lab to a wet lab. With that classification switch, there's also fire and building codes that we are required to comply to. So looking at the perimeter walls, we want to make sure that those walls become a fire barrier. We have fire dampers, so we'll have some minor modifications in the HVAC ductwork. Minor modifications to the fire suppression. We want to make sure we're meeting all applicable codes, life safety as well. Security, we're adding low voltage, we're adding card access to make sure that the health lab as well as the medical examiners spaces comply to security requirements to keep their licensure and certification. We have looked for sure, and we've gone and did a really deep dive. What things can we reuse? We're reusing the ceiling grid, we're reusing the electrical, luckily that was a lab, so there's significant electrical we can reuse, significant data that we can reuse. The ceiling grid, I might have already mentioned that. We are modifying some ductwork as well to accommodate for some fume hoods. We have some moving costs. There's specialty equipment that requires those specialty movers to come in as well. Paint, flooring, finishes, that'll be new. Millwork, that's a huge cost that we're reusing. However, there's a little bit of cost in this project for the fillers, for components, to make sure that we can move the existing millwork, but yet have it look complete and finished. New counters for acid resistance, those kind of things. So the lion's share of the project will be paid for out of the HRSA grant, out of that 1.2 million. And the CIP is 489,000 that we're requesting to supplement the project. So we're recommending to move this to finance. And did I miss anything?
Sounds good.
Any questions?
I'll just add one thing. The Resource Crisis Center has reached out to me. They have an interest in occupying the space that we're currently occupying in the building. So there may be an opportunity there to bring in some more lease funds to help offset this.
That sounds good. Thank you everyone on this particular item. I think Mr. Wypert and I were at the ME's office last year for a tour, and it just seems like they do have space, and it seems like a nicely, appointed building and everything like that. I don't see any additional.
I wish I could, I'm sorry.
Yes, I do. Just that fast. Commissioner
I
Smiley.
wish I could to push the button, sorry. I support this. This sounds like a very, good move and necessary for y'all. You did mention that the Crisis Center, Resource and Crisis Center, is looking, they'll facilitate, kind of find somebody to use the space, or I was going to ask, do they need the space? Does this help them by you, moving out of there? So it does. So they may use it. They may
They have requested.
find someone to put
they
in
have
there.
requested the space for themselves to spread out.
Oh, okay, good. That's everybody wins, I guess, kind of thing. Great. Thank you.
Nope, thank you. All right, Commissioner Miller, anything? All righty. Well, we can go ahead and prompt the vote on 12A, and it's a recommendation and forward to finance.
Commissioner Woodward?
Yes, sorry.
You have 6 yeas, 0 nays?
Thank you. That motion carries. We don't always get to see Leanne and her team on this committee, so it's always nice to see you. Thank you both.
Thank you.
All right, up next is 12B, a recommendation of forward to finance, facilities management, Oakland County roof replacement project at building 49W. And I'll take a motion to recommend. Thank you, Commissioner Miller, supported by Commissioner Wypert. Missy, thank you.
Thank you, yeah. The second project, this again is a planned CIP project for this fiscal year. This roof at 49 West is about 35 years old. This is a critical, a project on our critical list for repair, so we're in the process of designing and engineering. But unfortunately, Mother Nature got ahead of us on this upper roof area, so due to the recent storm damage, repair is definitely necessary. So facilities has repaired the storm damage, however, a more robust repair is necessary. So that investment to put a more robust repair, we'd rather recommend putting that investment into a roof replacement for this upper roof. Luckily, this upper roof, we don't have rooftop units, so that level of complexity is removed for this upper roof level. Facilities has developed specifications so that we meet and comply with the energy code and all applicable codes. We've addressed the lightning protection that goes around the perimeter coping of the high roof area as well. So this cost also includes the lightning protection removal and replacement of that. We appreciate the collaboration with purchasing. We've worked with purchasing, and we're recommending to award to a competitively qualified annual vendor, Royal Roofing. This is again part of the CIP for $333,000. Now, this is the upper roof area, so we will be coming back to this committee for the lower roof areas this fiscal year in a near future meeting. The lower roof areas, there's more complexity associated with the lower roof areas. So we do have rooftop units, we have penetrations through the roof deck, we have antiquated equipment, so we're engineering the structural roof deck, patching and repairs. With the lower roof deck area, roof replacement as well, we will address fall protection for the upper and lower areas. And also with the lower roof areas, we will address lightning protection for those lower roof areas too. So that's up and coming, but today it's the upper roof area and the associated lightning protection for recommendation to finance.
Thank you, Ms. C. First up, Commissioner Miller.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Here's a question. Is the roof that they're talking about, the upper roof, is it a membrane, asphalt, stone?
It's a membrane,
Okay.
EDM membrane, yep.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I guess just for edification, you know, when I hear annual, and I guess I'm talking to my chairman, annual vendors or something like that you said.
Yep, a competitively qualified annual
Yeah.
vendor.
You know, it's always one of those catch-22s of, you know, oh, they know our buildings. It's because they get the jobs all the time. So just always being mindful of that as we, you know, venture into just a more progressive way of getting things done around here. But other than that, any other questions, comments?
Actually, right on that point, if I may, Madam Chair.
Yes.
So the qualified vendors to do this project, you're on the list for a period of time. When we go through this qualification process, they're on the list, and we've been adding people to the list. So I guess what is that cycle? So to get
3 or 5.
well, they're not. I mean, it might be different than that. I guess. Okay, so can you speak more broadly, just to get to Commissioner Charles, because as we want to, I mean, clearly want to create opportunities for all firms, all qualified firms that align with our values and what we're trying to accomplish. We want to be able to have fair access to work. So can you give a very high level?
Yeah, so many of our annual contracts, they are 1-year contracts, but if they're with a trade or a supplier where we are using them a lot and we know that they're gonna be, like maybe the projects are gonna be longer in duration, sometimes those projects or those contracts will be set up as 3-year contracts or 2-year contracts right out of the gate. But we do have the ability, if we need to, depending on the circumstance, to extend those contracts up to 5 years. And there are purchasing policies and procedures that say that on a day over 5 years, they have to be competitively bid unless there's a really good reason for it, which I believe would require coming to the board and asking for an extension beyond the 5 years. But to your point, yes, we have been able to in the past several years to add to the pool of qualified. So in the past, we may have only had like 1 or 2 or 3 in a particular trade or supplier, and now we're starting to see that we're up to 3, 4, 5, 6 and beyond in some cases. And what we're doing in many of the cases is, although the annual contractor has been competitively bid and is pre-qualified, and if it is a smaller project that's under the threshold that was established by, I believe, this committee, where we are allowed to award to an annual without going out for another public bid. A lot of times what we're doing, and everything does go through the procurement office, they are reaching out to all of the annuals and having all of the annuals provide a proposal for that project and then selecting from that pre-qualified pool.
Yeah, I appreciate that insight. And without further ado, we can go ahead and prompt the vote on 12B.
You have 6 yeas, 0 nays.
All right, that motion carries. Thank you, Ms.
Thank
C. And Ed, I think that's it for you as well, so thank you both for.
It is, you're kicking me out of here? I thought I was next.
I guess I guess you're like the umbrella. So next up is item 12C, which is Facilities Management Probate Court E-Filing Service Center Project. This is a recommendation to the board. I'll take a motion. Moved by Commissioner Whiteford, supported by Commissioner Miller. Oh yeah, I do see your name here, Edward. It said Edward. It threw me off.
Little formal, I know.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome, and please introduce yourself so the folks watching can get to know who you are.
Yeah, so again, Ed Joss, the Director of Facilities Management. And my name is on here to lead this one because we have someone new at the table I want to introduce. This is Jennifer Henson-Piesick. Many of you, I'm sure, remember Jason Warner with our planning and engineering group. He left for another opportunity back in February. He is now the Director of Capital Planning for the City of Rochester, so great opportunity for him. But Jennifer is now the interim supervisor of the planning and engineering group. So you will see her face more, and she'll be taking the lead on some of these projects when they come through her area. And of course, here with Chris too. Chris can introduce herself.
Chris Bujak, I'm the business manager for Circuit and Probate Court.
So Jennifer and I are here, of course, to answer questions about the construction, the schedule, so on and so forth, and any questions related to the need for this, the business case for this. Chris, of course, can address those.
Commissioner Whiteford?
Will the setup be the same as the e-filing for circuit, or?
It would be very similar to that setup. We have moved the staff out of the mental health annex, and we are moving them into the main area of the probate court administration office there by the counter. And so that entire office, we will have 2 staff in there full-time just to assist the public with e-filing. This is a long overdue project. We've talked to you about it for years. We're very excited that it's finally coming to fruition on June 12th. Probate court e-filing should go live.
Nice. Seems
It'll go live, but not, you won't be ready.
This project will not be ready quite in time. We are putting in some temporary tables and temporary computers just to be able to assist the public when we do go live.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Miller?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Will this go through the county's purchasing policy?
It has.
It has, so you've already selected a contractor?
Yes.
Yes.
I just didn't see it and I might have missed it.
We've had several starts and stops to this project. The state initially had probate scheduled last year. There were delays. There were a couple of times that this project has just been put on a indefinite hold. So we are just so grateful that they've stuck with us and we're finally getting it done.
Do we know the contractor's name?
Yes. Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, there are multiple, there's small parts for each vendor that we're utilizing. So the majority of the work is actually gonna be done through our furniture vendor,
Okay.
ISCG. The construction will be done through Allied Construction,
All right.
and then we have some work for JSI.
Okay, thank you.
Those are the major ones, there's a variety of others though.
As well as some in-house trades within facilities management.
Yes.
But it went through the purchasing policy or?
Yes, I believe, just for clarification, the majority of these, the work for each of them is small enough where we are utilizing that pre-qualified competitively bid pool that I referred to earlier.
Thank you.
Commissioner Miller, Amy was going to chime in.
If, Commissioner Miller, if you look at the project estimate that's uploaded, there are some line items with the contractors listed there.
Okay. I see that.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Commissioner Miller. I love the consistency in
Be consistent.
yeah, you're definitely on brand. Anything further on item 12C? Seeing no other indications of that, we can go ahead and prompt the vote. Shaking his legs.
You have 6 yeas, 0 nays.
All right, that motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And final item under Facilities Management Department recommendations is the Facilities Management Purchase Agreement for real property on West Walton Boulevard in Pontiac. And this is a recommendation from the board. No, Melissa?
Oh, Melissa, you'll see her at the Park
Yeah, I'll see
Commission.
her a little later today.
She said to tell you it's going to the Park Commission today too. So it's a little backwards, but I think that's allowed.
Well, yeah, I mean, I definitely, sitting on the Parks Board and coming from my Head Start space, like, we always wanna stay in the proper order. But I have a feeling the Parks Commission is very familiar with this, and it should be moot. But we won't make a habit of getting ahead of Parks, I'm sure. All right, Paul and Ed, what you got for us with
Yes.
Bolton?
So we have good news that you had given Parks and Facilities authorization to negotiate a purchase agreement, which we did. We have a motivated seller. And we used the appraisal to start the value. The appraisals came in at $450,872. That appraiser, this is actually 3 parcels that equals 8.2 acres approximately. Has an old house in the middle and then 2 parcels on each side. But they're all lake frontage, so that appraisal, just to explain it briefly, was done. The highest best use was determined to be buildable lots. That appraiser came up with values for each of those lots. Some are bigger than others, but combined, that's where that price is. So at that price, we did not specifically share the appraisal, but we started at a price of $405,000 was our offer, with the seller paying $5,000 for a survey, for a portion of the survey. So we eventually came up with this price of $410 with the county paying for the survey. So that's the price, and we figured that's a pretty good deal. So we have the purchase agreement, the seller signed it. We have due diligence of approximately 90 days. We're gonna have that done much quicker than that. So we've already ordered the title, we have the phase 1 ordered, and we have the Alta survey ordered. So we expect all this to be done in about 60 days, and then we can go to closing. So we're just asking the board for the recommendation to sign this purchase agreement, and we can move forward with this deal closing.
Okay. Any questions from committee members? Commissioner Markham?
Excuse me, I have just a comment, and that is, I really love this. You know, here are 3 little parcels of property that were sitting up there on Walton Boulevard. At the same time, we're trying to activate an old park that was horrible for years. And it just all comes together. It's gonna be such a great thing all around that lake, and all of the accumulating of parcels that you've been doing. I just love this so much. Not only have we fixed a park, we've made a park bigger and better. And I really appreciate, and you know, this is not a lot of money for what we're really gonna end up with. And I just appreciate the hard work and creative thinking that you take with all of this, because it's making us better, and it's all for the residents.
I think we should all meet there for lunch
Happy to.
today.
We shall.
Well,
Commissioner Whiteford?
and it's partially offset with a grant. Ducks Unlimited had some other available funds. They paid for some of the other property that was purchased. After closing, they refunded, or and part of that will be done on one of these parcels. Thank you.
Okay. I see in section 6, the closing and closing documents section, this is new for me. Purchaser, which is us, shall name a trail, natural feature, or erect a commemorative sign on the premises at the discretion and choice of the purchaser, after the long owner of the premises an avid outdoorsman. So they get a little bit of naming, didn't have to pay for the survey, and got $5,000 more in the deal. So it looks like they're doing pretty good on the sell side. If the seller doesn't, what's the word, act or do what they need to do. For example, if there's like a outstanding something or another, we just make sure to communicate that with them and try to get it rectified. We don't just throw the whole agreement out, I guess. is what I'm
If
saying.
there's any complications in the title or in the liens or survey, we'll work those out. We were told they had an agent, so we were told by the agent that that our offer it was actually less than what they had from this other offer that fell through because it was development criteria oriented, so.
Yeah, I mean, we're a solid purchaser, that's all I know, here at the county, so that makes sense. I think that's all I have, and then again, we get to, no, this goes straight to the board, if I'm not mistaken, so. Any other questions on this, folks?
If I could just make a point of clarification too, so to your points, yes, you're right, 5,000 more than what was offered, as well as the survey and the naming, but still, that was our initial, based on our initial offer, still well below the appraisal amount.
Yeah. Commissioner?
This is one when you first came to us, the seller was hoping that the county would get this, that's the one or? Motivated seller, they wanted us. They wanted to be part, they envisioned it as part of the partnership, yeah.
Awesome.
That helped, I think.
Anything further? All right, well, we can prompt the vote on 12D.
You have 6 yeas, 0 nays?
Thank you, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that takes us to item 13 on the agenda, which is our second public comment. Is there anyone here who'd like to address this committee on any topic under the sun? You get 3 minutes at your leisure. I see no one moving towards the front during this public comment, so I will go ahead and close our second public comment. Is there any other business to come before this committee? Seeing none, I then will adjourn this meeting. Thank you all.